Hey YouTube, it's Peter. Just like the title says, no, I'm not BlueSpike. I explain everything in this statement that I prepared earlier, and I audio recorded it to make it a bit easier to present everything, and making sure that everything's sort of organized and not too all over the place. Just because this is a bit hard for me to talk about, honestly. So I hope you give the whole thing a listen. Hope you give me a chance. Appreciate you.
So who's BlueSpike? A 13-year-old kid named Max who in March of 2009 viciously trolled Chris Chan, known now as Christine Weston Chandler. He put together a scheme to pretend to be CWC's girlfriend, named Julie. That's a meme. He had multiple long cybersex sessions, and ultimately, this culminated in a long call that there's a widely circulated recording of, where Max is basically holding his fake girlfriend persona hostage and won't let CWC talk to her unless they, to keep it short, sexually violated themselves. The call ends with Max putting on Julie, and then revealing to CWC that he was just Max all along, and that CWC had done all this sexual stuff in front of a 13-year-old. Now, obviously, this is disgusting on all ends. I didn't realize that this was an actual surefire example of someone's sexual harassment until some years after I first heard it. And you may be saying to yourself, well, isn't that obvious? And nowadays, to me, it absolutely is. Thing is, when I first saw this and thought it was really, really crazy and wacky and funny that, oh, a stupid guy fell for a fake girlfriend, I was 11 years old. I was 11 when I first saw all of this. In July of 2009, I was 11 years old. I'd gone on Google to look up some videos by a dude who I hadn't seen around in years at that point called Spax3. I discovered a page about him on a website called Encyclopedia Dramatica. And so I read it being like, oh, maybe this will have mirrors of some of his old videos. And the whole page was obviously just shit-talking the guy. And I remember thinking as a very sort of immature child, whoa, this is crazy funny. They're just shit-talking dudes. Wow. This led me sort of lurking around Encyclopedia Dramatica more and more. Eventually, I stumbled upon the CWC page. On Encyclopedia Dramatica in 2009, this page was inescapable. It was oftentimes on the front page. And so I quickly read that whole page and all of the sub-pages, and then that led me to all the other sites documenting CWC's life. And so for the next couple of months, a lot of my internet activity was just me on these websites reading about the extended lore of Chris Chan's life. Now fast forward a couple of months, it's September or October of 2009, Chris made a video responding to some troll of theirs and pretty flippantly referenced 9/11 in it. And that was my cue to make a really cringy response video on an abandoned channel that I lost access to very shortly after I made it. And then after that, I made a couple of more, even cringier response videos because the first one was initially pretty well received. I really don't want to go exactly into things I said, as a lot of it was just incredibly ableist, and beyond that, just me talking about stuff I didn't fully understand. Honestly, I can't even physically bring myself to go to the channel to check, but it's pretty easy to unintentionally find, because I know loads of people already have. So this whole thing was just a result of me wanting to hop on a bandwagon. Now, around this time, depending on whether it was September or October, I would have been 11 or 12. So super high-pitched voice and all that stuff. I got comments pretty early on asking if I was BlueSpike, just on the grounds of us having a similarly high-pitched voice. I remember writing a reply at the time saying, I can assure you that I'm not Max. That would be pretty funny though. And I think it's that comment, along with other rumors that have come about over the years, that have twisted this whole situation into what it is now. So let's go into why it doesn't really make much sense for people to think I'm BlueSpike. And the first thing is, again, I was 11 years old at the time. BlueSpike was supposedly 13 years old in March of 2009. Like I said a million times, I was 11. That would mean that BlueSpike was born in 1996 or 1995, and I was born in 1997. I've always said that I was born in 1997, no matter what site or what community I've been a part of, and I've been consistent with that the entire time. And it genuinely makes no sense to me that people think I'd lie about my age and pretend to be younger. Too young to actually use the site legally, by the way. There's just genuinely no benefit to me doing that. So the second reason I brought it up before, it's the fact that people say that me and BlueSpike sound alike. And I mean, I kind of understand this making someone think about it a bit, and prepubescent boy voices don't tend to sound all too different. I mean, they're all whiny, right? So, sure, similar pitches and all that, but we don't have the same speech patterns or accent, though, and we didn't back then either. Here's a clip of my voice from early 2009, and you can go and compare that to the BlueSpike call.
You can lower the horizontal on that so it actually looks like it's on your face. And yeah, so there you go. I'm gonna zoom in there for a minute. Okay, here's the thing.
Kristen Chandler, hello! Oh, why so down in the dumps?
Now, I also remember a few prank calls towards Chris Chan that were posted to YouTube because someone posted their car on Craigslist with their number being like, hey, I'm selling this. And this was in August of 2009. I hadn't actually seen this one until like 2011, but one of the prank callers was BlueSpike. And I personally think that his voice in that call doesn't sound at all like mine did at the time.
Anyway, well, okay, Mr. Thomason Wally said, "Hi, mate! I read your comment and I think I'll say yes. I was trying to find out what the 7th episode would be when I make season 2 of TTLE and F. What the freak?"
Hey there, is this Mr. Chandler? Good evening, sir. I'm calling in regards to the Craigslist about the 94 Escort. I have a pretty good condition Xbox.
Just incidentally as well, I'm sure you would have had to be in with that crowd to have even participated in these prank calls within these Skype groups. And this was about a year before I ever used Skype regularly. I made an account on Skype in like March of 2010, and I didn't really use it all that much until July of 2010. Fast forward now to the middle of 2011, and I remember there being threads about me on 789chan, which was pretty much Kiwi Farms before Kiwi Farms. And this was around the time the general opinion of that original BlueSpike call shifted towards unfavorable. And they were all speculating about whether I was BlueSpike, and the most common thing I recall being brought up was my voice. There were also a couple of comments I remember just making stuff up, or just saying like blatantly incorrect statements like, I remember him doing stuff in that sphere in 2008, which when you know my age is ridiculous. Now let me make it very clear, and in no uncertain terms, I wasn't hanging around Chris Chan trolling circles when I was 10 or 11. I was making Thomas the Train music videos and YouTube poops in Windows Movie Maker. I've got a giant archive of most of the videos I've made between 2006 and now to show that. I even have like a YouTube channel filled with, not all of them, but lots of them with their original creation dates in the descriptions. So it was this conjecture, I think, that was the basis for people eventually just flat out saying that I was BlueSpike. Especially since from time to time I would post old clips of me on YouTube from 2008 or 2009 for fun, and those would tend to attract more comments just referencing BlueSpike. When I wasn't doing that, normally I'd get maybe 3 comments a year from people asking me about like whether or not I was him, so whatever, right? Wrong. Ooh boy, very wrong. So I don't know what's changed in the past half year or so, but the amount of comments I've been getting that are flat out accusing me of being BlueSpike has raised like tenfold. And I don't know exactly where it's coming from. I honestly don't care to know. But I'm getting stuff like, oh, how can you live with yourself doing that to Chris Chan? And that just really sucks because I literally have done none of that. This sort of stuff's been a source of anxiety for years, and honestly I'm kicking myself for not acknowledging these claims any sooner, but we're here now. It was a mixture of shame and embarrassment about my shitty response videos from 2009, and out of fear that making a statement about it would somehow make things worse. I thought about people potentially keeping the claims going even if I were to tell them the truth, but I realized that would be preferable to having people insist you're a sexual harasser and being radio silent. So like I said, in a million different ways, I'm not BlueSpike. I really regret not acknowledging these claims as they started coming in at such a greater volume back in August, September. Sorry about that. I'm also really genuinely sorry for the gross things I said in those old videos. Wanting to insert myself into big-time internet drama for clout absolutely backfired on me. it's not worth it. If you're like 12 and you're watching this, first off, you probably shouldn't be. But also, like, the thing to take from this, if you've listened this far, is to just be very, very careful online. And if you're the parent of, like, a middle school age child, just make sure they're making good choices online. So I hope you take that in mind. And if you've listened to this the whole way through, I thank you more than you know. Again, can't stress it enough. I'm sorry for the awful stuff I said in those videos 12 years ago. And I hope you're having a good one. So, peace out.